Hi, what can you tell us about your background as actor, producer, and director?
So I was not an actor. I like this was my first real time acting.
Yes.
So I was a producer for 6 years. I was producing music videos and commercials and some feature films, and I was an editor. So I was editing video, and I had directed a few things, but I made a film that was just wasn't very good, and so I thought that I wasn't a very good filmmaker for about 6 years, and so I was producing my friends' movies, and then I was producing at a company, and we were making things that weren't really that funny, despite the fact that they were supposed to be, and they weren't really that important, and so I just kind of, I was like, alright, well, maybe I'll just try it. I'll try and make a movie of myself, and that became the Thunder Road short film, and very quickly I realized that other actors, when I was trying to get them to play the part, were falling short. It either wasn't funny or it wasn't believably traumatic. It wasn't authentic, and so I filmed myself on my iPhone with my friends, and I said, let me just do it. And so I filmed myself doing it to send it to other actors to be like, this is what I was thinking. And my cinematographer and my producer both said, oh no, dude, you have to do it. And I started to grow my mustache out the next day.
What should be for you a good collaboration between a director and a main cast?
I think so. I have a great relationship right now.
Yes.
I love my cast, and really it's because I have direct connection with them through performance. Of when we're rehearsing something, I'm able to say, I wasn't thinking about it like that. Let's try it like this. And then I can act it out, and then they can see what I'm saying. So it's like, oh, I get the punchline now. Or like, I understand that I can take a break here and that it's okay. So I love that. I love having that kind of, I don't know, collaborative experience inside of rehearsal. And that shows the actors that I'm working with as a director how involved and interested I am in making the thing great. And it also builds this platform for them to make it better. So it's like, okay, this is what we worked on, but I think if I rehearse it, two more days, I can make it absolutely perfect. And I've been very lucky because my cast is incredible.
Yes. Why have you shot mainly this movie in how many days?
Yeah, we shot it in 14 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is not much time.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, so there was a moment where at the end of the film, I break into a car window, my truck window, and I actually cut my arm open, and I was bleeding. It was like gushing blood, and we didn't have time for me to go to the hospital because we were shooting later that night. And so I just used super glue and closed my arm up, and then went to the next set, and we shot the other parking lot scene, the nighttime parking lot scene. And you'd never know. I was wearing a long sleeve shirt. But yeah, it was very regimented. The way that we shot was insane. It was just constantly running all over the city making this thing because we didn't have any money. It was like we just had to do it that way.
Which moment of this movie was the most difficult for you to play or to shoot, and why?
The funeral.
Funeral, yeah, for first scene. Yeah.
The funeral scene is 10 minutes long, and it's all one shot, and it is this guy doing this elaborate dance scene and crying and hitting these comedic punchlines and engaging with a bunch of people. It's a guy talking about death while doing public speaking, which is like two of the biggest fears of most people. And so we shot it 18 times on this one day, and I just had to do it. I had to cry 1,000 times.
Wow.
And for the first half of the day, we shot it with the song in it, and then the second half of the day, we shot it without. But it was 18 full times of me getting emotional, like over and over and over again, and it was exhausting. So that was probably the hardest day.
Wow. What can you tell us about the way you have created the music of your first movie? Because music is also from you.
I played 3 songs, so it's, again, out of necessity. We didn't have any money for anything, so I kind of had to do it. But I'm not a musician either. I know how to play the guitar a little bit, and the piano a little bit. But when I went to New Orleans. I went home right before we shot the film, and and my parents have an organ in their house, and so I got my iPhone out and I was like, oh, this sounds really cool, and so I recorded this like organ music, and that actually makes it into the scene where I'm jumping fences, and it works perfectly. You would never know that it was recorded on an iPhone, or that it was me doing it, and then the montage of me coming home and fixing up my daughter's room is me on my girlfriend's ukulele, and it was just late at night, and I had another song in there, and we didn't have the rights to it, and I was like, all right, I'll see what I can do, and I stayed up late for like 3 nights in a row, stressing out about this song and trying to make it perfect. It was out of necessity.
It's a good result.
Thank you.
What do you prefer to work as a director or as an actor, and why?
I think director. Because as a director, I get to work with actors in the same way that I would with myself. Of like, I'm able to act out the scenes with them, and then we build the characters and we build the dialogue together in that moment. We workshop it until it's perfect. And as an actor, if I was acting in somebody else's movie, I wouldn't really have that. And I feel like some of my strengths is really the storytelling of like, when you see me walking over and plucking down the paper from the wall, that is like this emotional punchline that, you know, I feel like I'm good at as a director, and the only reason I'm acting in it is out of necessity, is out of happenstance that I have to be this guy. So yeah, I think directing is probably my goal, but I still love acting. I would love to continue to act.
What kind of advice could you give to someone who would like to work as a director?
Do it yourself. Start making movies. That's always my advice. Don't wait for somebody to come along and take you seriously. Start shooting on an iPhone. I do that all the time. My Twitter is just that, basically. It's people who are able to ask questions about how I started, but I was a nobody. I was a loser, basically, and I had a little bit of enthusiasm about these small projects, and I wanted to show off, and I wanted to make people laugh, and I wanted to make people cry. I wanted to move them in the ways that I had been moved in the cinema, and because of that, I became ambitious, and I've been riding that wave of ambition ever since. My advice to anybody who wants to be a director is to just start. Like, I don't think this feature, it's my first feature, would be very good had I not done 10 short films beforehand. Like, there's something in the power of making shorts that allows you to understand how you speak the language of film that you can't learn from writing a script or trying to make a feature first.
From a short movie, Thunder Road, to this one, how did you process to find such great inspiration to make a bigger, better one?
Yeah. Well, very luckily, I had about 1.5 years after the short film was done to really process it and to go to film festivals. We won Sundance with the short film, and so I was able to go to film festivals and engage with audiences and what they took out of the story. And so I had about 1.5 years to marinate on Bruce Springsteen and what he meant to and what he means to so many people. And that his story is convincing people who are unhappy that it's okay to leave your life and go and do something and change and move to a town, move to a city, whatever it is. Find happiness for yourself, to not be a spectator in your life. And it was all of these things that I wasn't as deeply considerate of just in the writing of the short film. And so I had about 1.5 years of that, of really breaking down what this dude and this song meant to people. And so I was ready to write the script when I had the idea to make the short film the opening scene rather than the climax. And as soon as I realized that that was the story and that the movie would have to be about me being a parent rather than losing a parent, it happened very quickly. And it kind of happened all at once. I was like, oh, well then the movie would have to be about me convincing my daughter to like me again. And I was like, that would be very funny. And that would also be very tragic. And I was like, this is perfect. This is the short film as a feature. And it happened all at once, yeah.
What can you tell us about the cast?
Yeah, this is great. I love this question. The cast is incredible. Yes. They're incredible. So Kendal Farr, who plays my daughter, she plays Crystal in the film, is lovely. And we went out to about 45 different girls who were around her age, and when in the room, we were acting it out, and I was like, this is my daughter, no question. And throughout the set, while we were shooting, she was like climbing on me, and I was like, honey, I'm trying to do this, that. So she was very much my daughter. We had this father-daughter relationship, which makes it authentic when we're actually on film. It was great. Nican Robinson plays Nate. He plays my partner in the film, and I met through Instagram, but also kind of through the Sundance Institute. He had been to a theater lab at Sundance, and I liked his videos on Instagram, and we ended up getting a beer once, and I was like, oh, this guy could totally play my partner. He's just a friend of mine. And then he actually became a friend of mine, and so it was kind of a no-brainer that, like, well, who's going to play my best friend in this movie is this dude who's already doing it. And then Jocelyn DeBoer plays Raj. She plays my ex-wife, and she's a writer and director as well. She's also a comedian, and I loved her other work. I loved her short films, and I met her at a film festival and said, please, would you do it? And she said, absolutely. Chelsea Edmundson plays my sister, and she again came into audition, and it was very clear that she could be my sister. And in real life, like, you can feel it in the room. I was like, oh, I have this affinity for you, and you have the same for me, and we can be mean to each other but also affectionate. It was just perfect. And then Macon Blair plays my daughter's teacher, famously from Blue Ruin and Green Room, and he makes his own films as well. Incredible filmmaker in his own right. But he's so funny, and I reached out to him online, and I said, hey man, I'm wondering if you'd be interested in doing this teacher part. I don't know if you'd be down. And he goes, send me the script. And I sent him just the scenes, and he goes, oh dude, this shit is hilarious. He goes, absolutely. And it was one day. It was just like one day, and he lives in Austin. It was like a perfect thing, and he's one of my favorites. He's great.
Do you have some French actors or directors that you would like to work with?
Whew. Vincent Cassel is an actor. Vincent Cassel. Oof. La Haine was one of the movies that got me into making movies. Oh my god. Matthew Kassovitz, actually. Matthew Kassovitz is an incredible director. Yes. Besson, I think, would be really wonderful to work with as a director. I don't know. All of my other favorites are deceased. Louis Malle died in the 80s. I think right now those are my top. Yeah.
What are your current projects?
A lot of stuff. I want to make smaller movies with my friends like this one, because this one works so well. I want to do the same thing. I want to make comedies that are also dramas on a small budget in a few locations that we have access to for free, and basically make 2 or 3 movies like that every 2 years. But I'm scheduled right now to do a werewolf movie, a horror movie that's really great. It's like Thunder Road with a werewolf. It's about a cop in a small town dealing with this daughter issue and divorce, and he's also trying to track down this werewolf serial killer, basically. It's like Zodiac, but it's Thunder Road with a werewolf. It's the same kind of thing. It's like horror and comedy, but like character comedy. It's really funny and very scary too. Anyway. So I'm doing that, and then I'm working on a TV show that we're developing with the producer of Seinfeld about astronauts coming back from the moon to live in the suburbs of Florida, and that is a very melancholy comedy as well, about people who have seen the Earth from afar and then come home to go through these existential crises in the suburbs. It's great.
Have you some little words to say to your French audience? Maybe in French?
Yeah, merci beaucoup. Et c'est vraiment génial que le film vont ouvert au théâtre, aux salles.
Semaine prochaine.
Semaine prochaine, oui, c'est incroyable. Et quand j'ai écrit le film, je fais ça seul, et c'est tous les mois de production, c'est vraiment une situation seule pour moi. Et maintenant, quand tout le monde peut voir le film et parler avec moi et dire merci pour ce film, c'est génial, c'est vraiment incroyable, et merci beaucoup.
And my last question, you can say no. Do you want to sing a little part of the Thunder Road Springsteen song? You can say no.
I can do. So I was on Instagram, and there was a girl with a ukulele, and she sang it differently, and it was good. Let me think. Screen door slams, Mary's dress waves. Like a vision she dances across the porch as the radio plays. Roy Orbison singing for the lonely. Hey, that's me and I want you only. Don't turn me home again, I just can't face myself alone again. It's different, but it's good.
It's good.
Yeah.
You should sing it because your voice is nice.
Oh, thank you so
Yes,
much.
I
Thank
like
you.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.